back-to-back victories at this point. I guess how good does it feel to kind of be back on track, kind of where you were before the setbacks?
It feels good, man. Just feel like I'm climbing back out of a hole. Went 0-3. Now I'm back on a 2-fight win streak, trying to make it 3, get back to even, and then we can go from there.
I love it. And family growing as well, so it seems like success is in the cage and outside right now.
Yeah, my wife's pregnant. We're expecting another baby in February. Going to have a baby girl. So pretty excited about that. And yeah, last time my wife was pregnant, I think I knocked someone out in 20 seconds or something.
Do you find, some people talk about, like, I guess, having kids, changes perspective, changes motivation. I mean, have you noticed any of that, or does it feel kind of similar to beforehand?
It definitely changes perspective. It changes all that. It simplifies your life. Again, when I first had BAM, I just didn't understand my role in the beginning, so I put a ton of pressure on myself, and I went through that rough season of life and losing and trying to do everything right and put an enormous amount of pressure on myself to be successful, and I wasn't. So that was just a hard season for me. But then I kind of started to understand my role and what I could do. How can I be the best dad possible? And especially in those first couple years of life, there's really not a ton I can do to give my son life. Like that's what my wife does. She's such an amazing mother. She breathes, feeds, does everything for that child, and for me, it's just to be there, be present, and then show up every single day and do what I do by going to work and be an example, standing back up when you fall, staying resilient, and just teaching them little examples in those ways. So, yeah, man, I love being a dad. It's probably the best thing ever.
That's awesome. Have you been able to free yourself from that pressure of the professional stuff as well? I mean, it did feel like you were kind of hard on yourself when you were having the setbacks. Have you been able to kind of release yourself of that?
A little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I still struggle with it. I still struggle with, perfectionism. I still struggle with trying to do everything right, and I do, but I also give myself a little grace. I kind of figured out, and I understand the importance of, brotherhood and friendship and community, and I have a sports psychologist, and like we talk about it weekly, and we talk about these things that we all go through as human beings, and so I'm still a human. So yes, I still deal with that, but at the same time, I know how to handle it a little bit better.
Nice. Obviously, you're never afraid of fighting killers. Bryce Mitchell, a tough opponent. What do you think of him overall as a fighter, and kind of what he presents to you?
He's one of the best. He's 14-1, or I think 14 or 15-1. He's fought some of the who's who's, and he's beaten some of them. And I feel like people write him off because of one loss. So I'm expecting him to come back with a vengeance, and I'm prepared for the best version of him.
It's interesting because you win here. There's not a whole lot of names above his, and a lot of them are guys you've already fought, right? So what are you hoping for? Win here. Are you hoping for fresh names in those matchups, or do you kind of want to go revisit some of those fights that you had?
I'm never afraid to revisit a guy that I've fought in the past, and retest myself, because I always look at things like that. Like guys that I've lost to, if you put us in a series, like the NBA, if we're going best out of 7, I don't see myself losing all of them. Guys 1 through 15, these are number 15 could beat number 1 on any given day, and you guys all know that this sport is crazy, and the results you want and that you visualize are never guaranteed. You can do everything right, you can still lose a fight, and that's just the beauty of the sport, man. Right now all I'm looking at is Bryce, but I definitely see myself with a win over him, moving back up the ladder. He's number 10 in the world. I'm number 12. And I've been up there before, too. I think I've been up to number 8. But those numbers don't really matter, man. It's just who's the best fighter on that day, who's going to show up.
Last thing for me, you said you got the quick knockout last time the wife was pregnant. Are you hoping it's one of those fights? Because on paper, this looks like it might be kind of a fight of the night type fight. Is that what you're expecting? And do you let your mindset, think that way going in?
A little bit. I always prepare myself for war. I prepare my body to go through the trenches. I I never underestimate someone like I'm just going to walk through him in the first round. Of course I want that. I expected, I wanted to knock out Nate Landwehr, and I tried and I dropped him, but that dude was tough and he kept standing up. So you got to be prepared to go 3 rounds, 15 minutes. That's what we signed the contract for. So that's what I'm ready for. That's what I'm prepared for. My body's in the best shape ever. My mind's in the best shape ever. And, yeah, you got to expect a war.
Hey, Dan. Extreme Couture is on a roll right now. Is it motivating to see Sean win the championship?
I think it's motivating for everyone. Anytime someone brings a world title into that gym, like Sean came into the gym on Monday, just got off the plane. Him and Eric came in the gym, and to carry that energy, from someone that flew across the world, was against all odds, and came back with the world title, that just brings us all up. You can like the guy or not like the guy. He's the champ, and the whole gym right now is killing it. Just even on the regional scene, everyone is feeding off each other. There's something different over there right now. Eric's really, I don't know. He knows how to make that camaraderie, that team environment. Even though this is an individual sport, we all have individual schedules. When we get in that room and we're on the mats sweating, bleeding, crying, laughing, doing everything together, we're one, and we all build each other up. So, yeah, man, we got a great thing going right now, and I'm just excited to go in there and hope to carry that momentum.
You're in the gym with Sean all the time, so what were your thoughts when he went in there and shocked the world?
Honestly, I wasn't too surprised. I think someone asked me in an interview to make a prediction, which I never do. I hate predictions. I don't like making predictions because you guys know the sport. Like, anything can happen. But I never counted out Sean. I actually picked him to win. And Izzy's one of the best in the world. But Sean just brings a different dynamic, man. He's in your face. He has a different type of pressure. He doesn't really care. He doesn't care what people think. He doesn't care what his opponent thinks, and he knows how to fight, man. Yeah, at the end of the day, he knows how to fight, and that's what this is. You could be a competitor, you could be a technical assassin, but if you know how to fight, sometimes that wins you the fight.
Obviously, the Korean Zombie retired. Does it sting a little bit that you want to get that rematch?
No, it sucks. Yeah, I'll never get that chance. That'll be one win I'll never be able to get back. But, good for him, man. He's a legend. Korean Zombie's an absolute legend. And it was an honor to go 25 minutes in the cage with him. Even though I lost, I learned a lot in that fight. I learned a lot about myself. I learned about my resiliency. And I'm excited for him, and I wish him the best in his future endeavors.
And finally, were you surprised how many people started to become a major fan of you because you like RuneScape?
Yeah, dude, I started playing RuneScape at 12 years old because my dad broke his back, and he started playing it, he broke his back skydiving, and he was playing on his laptop one day, and I was like, what are you doing, dude? So I started getting online. That's how I bonded with my dad. I'd be in the other room playing on as a different account, and then eventually I just stole his account and then maxed it out. And it's kind of like a mindless, there's no end to it. So it always helped me in wrestling when I was cutting weight, or beginning of my fight career, I'm cutting weight. I didn't have to think about eating or do anything. I could just go on there and PK some noobs.
Dan, over here. This is an individual sport, like you said, but for someone who trains at Extreme Couture in a very team-heavy environment, how important is that family and team atmosphere for your development as a mixed martial artist?
Like I said, man, that camaraderie, it's just different. It brings a different energy, especially when you're going into training, you're feeling down, you're feeling run down, you're tired, and you see your teammates out there, they're all working hard. You have no choice but to work hard. So I really enjoy the team aspect of it. Even though I feel like I have a smaller team within a team, I build a team around me, and I utilize, all of my resources to best fit my schedule. And that's the great thing about Extreme Couture. Like, it's self-accountability. I have to still be the one that shows up every day. And I feel like I have a really great team around me. I have my, obviously, Eric Nixick. I got Chase Pammy, my wrestling coach, who I bring in to help me with wrestling. And I have Jimmy Gifford, my boxing coach. I have Skylar Close over here, my brother-in-law. He's the crazy one telling me to slam guys on their head and just keeps me in check, keeps me accountable. And, man, I have a great team.
And you mentioned that you hired a sports psychologist. How beneficial has that addition been for you, and do you recommend it to other athletes?
It would be stupid not to. You know, it's one of those things. If you're going to work on your, you work on your jiu-jitsu, your boxing, your wrestling, your takedown defense, striking defense, but how are you not going to work on your mind? So 5 years ago, I just thought it was a gift. You know, you either have it mentally or you don't. And that's not true. You have to work on your mind just as important as you work on your physical attributes. And I think in this day and age, it's like, actually, I don't know. It's hard to put a percentage on how mental this game is, but it's very mental. And how do you get yourself in the best state of mind to compete at your best? And I don't know. I think it's a huge benefit.
Thank you.
Thanks. Taking 2 quick ones for me. Thank you, Dan. Just to touch on that psychological aspect, just the mental. You've been in some wars, some battles, both sides of the verdicts. You're fighting a guy who's coming off that first loss. Do you see that as an edge for you, that you're like, you know what, I know where your head's at. I've been there, but I actually know how to move past that. Is that a factor for you?
Not really, because honestly, I don't know where his mind's at. I don't know where his head's at, and I can only expect the best. You know, I can only expect he wants to come back with a vengeance, because, yes, I have been there. I've been defeated, and I've came back on a tear. I've also been defeated, and I let it defeat me in the next one, and the next one. And you never know where his mind's at, but you can only expect, a killer. It's a hard balance. You don't want to put these guys on a pedestal, but you also don't want to underestimate them. And it's a balance, man. I'm confident when I'm in there, but when I'm out working and I'm training, this guy's the best in the world, and I'm training for the best in the world. But when I'm in there, I'm the best in the world. I'm the master. I'm the monster. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Thank you, sir. And last for me, we've seen recently with what's been going on with Hawaii and the tough times there. We saw how Max Holloway used his platform to bring a little bit of education, awareness to people, get them involved. How great is it for you guys to be able to do that and use your platform personally to bring people, say like, hey, this is what's going on in the world besides my fights. Sure, tune in for that, but also this is what's going on. A part of my heart is involved here.
For sure, man, and we'll never forget. Like I haven't forgotten about my people back home, and it's when it first happened, and I was in the middle of training camp. Honestly, I felt this like almost a guilt waking up every day. Just I get to wake up and use my sweet ass espresso machine, make some coffee, go to the gym. Like my life wasn't affected, but I have friends, I have family who their whole entire life is on pause. It's halted. They lost things. They lost their house. They lost family. They lost people. They lost kids, grandmothers, grandfathers, and I felt this weird guilt, and so I thought about it. I was like, what can I do right now? Like literally, what could I? Because I can't undo what happened, but I have a platform, like you mentioned, and so that's what I did. I used my platform to try to spread any type of positive awareness. How can we help these families who are going through it right now? And I think that's what it came down to. Was there was tons of fundraisers, like tons of people funded fundraisers, which did amazing. I've seen them do millions and millions and millions. But then you start to think like, where does this money actually go? Because this is going through Facebook, this is going through Instagram, Meta's in control of this. They're not releasing the money to this certain things. And then after like a couple weeks have passed, they created a page called Lahaina Ohana Venmo, and they linked every single family who was affected by the fires and attached their Venmos so you can actually donate and help those families. You could pick a family and help them directly. That way they're getting the money and the resources they need now and not having to wait on government or government help or government funds. And I'll let Bryce Mitchell explain that, the government stuff, but yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, and good luck on Saturday, Dan.
Thanks. Right on, guys.